Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also the Brink, and we are one community. Today, we are going to be turning off the recording. Okay. Not the streaming, though. Today we're going to be talking about Ally 2, ASUS ROG FMF, and, well, I guess AMD's FMF, and just various amounts of different games being canceled or maybe not doing as well. That is what is on the docket today. Cascoder, welcome. As always, we'll just do a little bit of lighthearted talking in the beginning, excuse me. As we wait for people to trickle on in, I will also, give me 1 second, let people know in the Discord. So, Wolf, total number of players since release, over 19 million players. Steam, 12 million players. Xbox, 7 million players. Does that include Xbox's game service, too? I'm assuming Xbox is that. That's a lot of people on Steam, actually. So, yeah, 19 million players or purchases. I put the wrong link. Oh, I did put the wrong link. Thank you, Wolf. It didn't. It didn't update with the newest link. That's weird. I just grabbed the newest one. Thanks. Cascoder, it includes Xbox users, so Game Pass and paid. That makes sense. That's what I was kind of wondering. That's still very low. That seems very low compared to Steam. I'd think it'd be almost neck and neck. They also updated the Xbox version too, which is also your version, Cascoder. Yes, thanks, Wolf and Cascoder. Let's do this, kind of. How are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Do you have anything else you want to talk about today? Cascoder, because the Xbox version is, to me, a demo of the Steam version. Is it really, though? I don't know if it's not missing that much content, is it? You were playing with us. It was fine. It seemed like it. Let's, Okay, so let's start this out. We'll keep this, I say this all the time, under an hour, I hope. So, the Cascoder, Xbox only has 4 players. If you join a game, you lose progress if you rejoin. Okay. Oh, I thought you were playing with the Xbox version, or at least the Xbox Game Pass version. And then Wolf's playing, of course. So I've jumped onto our server, and if you don't know, Games Revealed has a server. You can get the information if you join the Discord server and go there. It doesn't mean everyone's always playing it, but I jump in every once in a while and just screw around for like a half hour between projects I have going on. So, with that being said, we are not talking about Power World today, even though it's a very interesting game in a lot of different ways. I did make a video on the controversies, which also goes into the game somewhat too. What we're talking about today is just like I mentioned earlier, Ally 2, Ally 1, AMD's FMF. We also got varying amounts of different games that have canceled or are very controversial in one form or another that we're going to be covering today. So that is what we're doing today, and then chatting with you guys. Okay, let's do this. Let's see here. Okay, so first up, the ASUS ROG Ally takes flight to Steam Deck with frame generations update. This is from PCGamesN.com. This is very promising. I've read multiple things on this, and I've heard multiple things about this. But ASUS promises to bring AMD Fluid Motion Frames FMF technology to its gaming handheld in the future. Download potentially boosting frame rates, and I'll put it that to rest. That saying right there is very like, or that like the wording right there is very safe sounding. It does. It increases quite a bit. Dead space will go from like 40 frames to 70 to 80 with just FMF enabled, with very little degradation. What it's built for is increasing the frame rates of games. It's more or less designed for high refresh rate monitors. So let's say if you're getting 60 frames and you want to get like 120, et cetera, this is what will get you there without any performance degradation. A cast coder is throwing out a breaking news Pal World patch out right now on Steam. There's no surprise there. I bet you they're going to come out with a patch every week. So, with the FMF, it was played off as like not being very groundbreaking for Steam Deck or for handhelds. The more I see on this, and the more that, because right now I believe you can get FMF for Ally, you have to pay for it, and then potentially Steam Deck 2, you have to send the change log into my DMs. Okay. Okay. We will go over the change log and see if there's anything interesting towards the end of the stream. Okay. So FMF is probably one of the most promising technologies to come out, and hopefully iterations off of it for handhelds, in as it doesn't require much more performance hit to run it in the sense of like battery and all that. Welcome, Andre. But it gives you so much. Like, hopefully this is the tech that will inch us into being able to play pretty much anything on, like, let's say the Steam Deck. If it ever, it's gonna go over there. I don't know when, but I can almost guarantee at one point it will arrive on the Steam Deck. As far as FSR 2 and FSR 1 on the Steam Deck, they do amazing jobs of being able to allow you to play almost anything. And I say almost anything. There are a few games that could use a little bump up in frames. Welcome, Icarus. Welcome. So, at the end of the day, this is I'd actually say this and iterations of this specific technology and FSR 2, along with FSR 3, are the future of handheld gaming for the next few years to come, and it's going to allow us to eventually be able to play pretty much any game on these devices with little degradation. It's iteration, guys. It's iterative. It's we work off of past things that we've built, and we build up, and we get better and better. And sooner or later, it won't matter the chipsets that are coming out. So that's what makes this so cool. That being said, the ROG Ally does have a high refresh rate, or screen, that is. So I believe it's 120 or 144 or 140. I believe it's one of those. So it's kind of cool that certain games, especially very, let's say, and I believe FMF has to be supported by the game, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if this is one that can be forced on, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I know FSR 3 it has to be supported by the game, but FMF, I can't remember if this is like a piece of the FSR 3 or not. I haven't looked at it, but this is a big deal, and hopefully with some of these tech, we'll still be talking about performance and numbers and stuff like that, but hopefully this will put it to rest of like, will it run on Steam Deck? Well, yeah, as long as it doesn't have any issues with with an online service, or like Destiny and a couple of games, it just won't work on Steam Deck for a while without some type of workaround. That's what makes this really cool. Chris Lee, just going to buy the ROG Ally, the first one. I thought I would like OLED, but I don't really care about it that much for Steam Deck OLED. The Steam Deck OLED is one of my favorite devices right now. I really do like the OLED, but it's not like, but the thing is, the OLED is color corrected, or at least it's calibrated properly I've had other OLED screens for handheld, and they've been kind of like eye bleedy. Like there's something wrong with the calibration. OLED doesn't mean it bleed, like it's supposed to be bleeding colors everywhere. It's just supposed to look more realistic in the color gradations and all that. But it's like a neon bleed on some devices. I think the Steam Deck OLED does a good job of getting a good balance. Is it the best OLED that's out there? No, but it's pretty good. That being said, ROG Ally's higher resolution definitely helps with certain things like text and all that, where the OLED Steam Deck still kind of falters a little bit. At the end of the world, at the end of the day, not the end of the world. The end of the world's not yet. Maybe at the end of the year, but there's still two great options: the Ally and the Steam Deck, and for two different types of gamers on the go. So I can guarantee that ROG Ally is going to get this much sooner. And right now, you can install it, or you can buy a mod with the FMF technology. Steam Deck, it's a little bit more complicated, which I believe you can do that too, but I haven't tested any of that stuff. Andre, but I find night mode on the Deck OLED to be too much sickly almost. Oh, I haven't tried night mode on the Deck. It should just cut out blues. Does it just make everything just a little too bright, though, to compensate? That'd be interesting. So yeah, for those not familiar with AMD FMS, it's a graphics technology similar to NVIDIA's DLSS 3 and AMD's FSR 3 frame generation, creating an AI-enhanced estimation of new frames based on combination of previous frames. This, in effect, creates a much smoother feeling, higher frame rate without a huge amount of extra GPU power required to create the frames. Crucially, though, unlike DLSS 3 and FSR 3, FMF doesn't require the game to have feature built in to it, but can instead work with any game via the graphics card. That's correct. So this is available in AMD's drivers right now as a beta. So you can get FMF and you can play it on the Ally. I haven't been able to get it to kind of work yet. Luckily, Coolzer gave me a little guide that I need to go do soon, but I've been working on an ROG Ally review, and I've also been working on some other stuff. And maybe at the end of this stream today, which will be 9 o'clock today, I'm going to try to be a hard, like, we're stopping at 9, unless we're on a really good streak, and then I'll ask you guys some stuff on the channel. So, yes, FSR, so I was semi-correct, but not really. So yeah, AMD FMF does not require the game to be built around it, which is interesting that AMD's already, I don't know if it's outdated FSR 3 completely, or if they wanted to do an iterative feature to get around having the developers to have to create, because they have to enable the support, and I think they have to do some extra steps for FSR 3. DLSS 3 is also the case. So it's nice to see. And honestly, I will have to give it to AMD. They open source their technologies much better than NVIDIA does, and NVIDIA is much more closed off. I like my NVIDIA cards, but I'm really loving AMD's future and how it's looking. Andre, it's too bright. Yeah, that makes sense. You could probably turn down the brightness, though. Chris Lee, do you think the ROG Ally, the first one, price go down for the new ROG Ally 2? I wish it would go down $100. I really think it should be cheaper because of the battery life. Well, I mean, it's not fair because in the sense of, like, yes, the battery life is 30 minutes less than the original Steam Decks. But the graphics chip is almost, depending on the game, of course, twice as powerful as the Steam Deck. Really depends on the game, though. It's more or less 50%. So, Raichi, frame generation on a 90 hertz monitor sounds interesting. So here's the thing with frames generation and frame generation already kind of occurs. So FSR 2, how I believe it works is that it will render at a smaller resolution and fill in the holes as it blows it up to a bigger one. So when it blows it up, it will fill in those little gaps. Sometimes that's why you get a little bit of a blurry aspect to it. That can happen depending on how good the game supports FSR2 or FSR2 is, or what setting the FSR2 is set to. That does pretty good. FSR or FMF takes that one step further of essentially guessing what the next frame is going to be and just injecting frames throughout everything to make it just feel a little smoother, which that's the magic, is I don't know how they get it to feel like it's fluidly moving forward instead of like feeling like it's janking around. So that's the interesting thing about it. It benefits, they said, especially with FSR3 and DLSS 3, they say that it's only in higher frames where it really benefits, but from my understanding, it can also highly benefit from anything that's like 30, 40 frames per plus. So if you can get the game to run about 30 frames, you should be able to get it to be, but with FMF, it could change that. So this, and that's why I want to do a separate video on this, maybe even explaining it better. But that's about as good as I think it needs to be explained. I don't think it goes much more complicated than that. FMF is the future of gaming on handhelds, so keep an eye out for that. Without better APUs, and maybe even with better APUs, pairing these together, it will be a complete desktop replacement in the near future, depending on what you do, of course. Okay, so there's that. Oh yeah, Chris Lee, I don't know if I mentioned, I do think the ROG Ally will go down in price, but it might even be sold out, or they might stop making it. Once they start making the ROG Ally 2, they might cut production on Ally 1, and so the only way you'll be able to find it is new, or used, that is, depending, it just really depends on the supply that they have, the demand they have, and all that. So I don't know. I know for overall the best handheld right now is the Steam Deck OLED, but if you want to be able to play every single game pretty much out there, the Ally is what you're going to want to get. Okay. Raichi, FPS based on 90 Hz Deck OLED would be great. Yes. Exactly, Raichi. And the thing is, once you get to 90 Hz on the OLED, it kills your battery much, much faster. But it's so smooth. Some games just work so well with high frame rates. Some games, Some games, awesome. Now approved. Man, dude, I get freaking... if you're just listening to this, I'm having a drug ad on here. Not a pharmaceutical drug ad, to be more precise. This is in Nevada. And it's just kind of funny. I don't know if I've gotten these much on the web, but it's like such a TV thing. Chris Lee, well, I found it used for $500 on Facebook. It looks new. Yeah, you can get the ROG Ally for about $500 right now. It's probably new price is going to be $600 from here on out, even though it says it's on sale. That's just probably the new price it's going to be for a while. It might drop down to $500. Let's see if they come out with an Ally 2 and how much better it's going to be, which we're going to talk about the Ally 2 right now. We don't know a whole lot about it, but I want to talk about it. I want to speculate a little bit. Before we speculate, I just want to go over what the ROG Ally has. It has 2 speakers with Dolby Atmos, and the speakers were one of the best things about it. Downright, they're so good. You got to have front-facing speakers on these handhelds. For me, I listen, like when I'm on trips and stuff, obviously I have headphones in, but these speakers are awesome. And when I'm at home, it's much better than having my headphones in typically. Yeah, play time is between 1.3 and 4 hours, and that's a very honest assessment from Game Rant. The Z1, obviously there's a Z1 and Z1 Extreme. The Z1 Extreme is the only one I think is worth it, and so you have to be very careful when you're buying it online for use, because some people might not even know that. 16 gigs, we're going to talk about that. That's also like, 500 512 gigs, and I think that's the only version that they have, right? Meh. We can upgrade it, though. It's not that big a deal. And then the 7-inch screen is meh. Even though the screen itself is actually not a bad quality, the 7 inches is meh. 1080p is fine. I'd like to see it be more like a 1200p, but that is what it is. And then, yeah, the graphics and all that. I'd also like to see the battery bumped up to a 60. Yes, that's going to make the device heavier and maybe a little bulkier, but that's what I'd like to see. So, let's go into the predictions that someone has, and we'll go in with our predictions. And I mean, I think you already know. We guess I could go over to this, but like 32 gigs, it needs to be 32 gigs. It needs to have a 1 terabyte option. I'm fine if they want to keep it cheaper to have a 512 gigabyte option. It needs to be 8 inches. It needs to be 1200p, and it needs to be at least a 50 watt increase. As far as chipsets, I would not be surprised if it uses the new Intel chipset, and we're going to get into that as a prediction here in a second. But if they upgraded a lot of those other aspects to this, especially the battery life, I could see using the Xeon Extreme still fine. But either they could create a Z2 this year, and it could be an iterative thing where every year AMD is coming out with a new Z processor. I assume that ASUS is going to be using the next gen, which is, I think, the 8000 series, right? I think this one's based on the 7000 series, and I think they have an 8000 series. They might even have a 9000 series come out this year. I wouldn't be surprised if AMD and ASUS are working on something similar to this Z1 Extreme for that, or they're going to go to the new Intel chipset, the Intel Alpha chipset, which we don't know much about. I've heard good things, and let's get into some of these predictions, and we'll get into that too. Chris Lee, can we do a poll on ROG Ally and 2? We don't know much about the 2, Chris Lee, so I don't think the poll would be very useful, but I do think it would be interesting. Chris Lee, I could sell my Legion Go, but I like it too much. If you like your Legion Go a lot, then I wouldn't get an Ally, Chris Lee. I don't think it's worth getting the Ally. If you're trying to get all Steam Deck, Ally, or the Legion Go and the Ally, I think, honestly, the Legion Go or the Ally is sufficient enough, depending on what you're trying to do. That's my opinion on it. The Legion Go, yeah, my review was pretty harsh of it, but my experience wasn't great. And I'm pretty lenient typically. It's just I didn't like playing it. I didn't like picking it up and playing it. I'd rather I actually played Steam Deck more than I played anything else. Okay, so predictions-wise, or at least stuff that need to be fixed and all that, Windows Central goes over this, which is kind of funny because they mentioned fix the micro SD card overheating issues. From my understanding, that has been fixed. They might mention it's not. From my understanding, it's been fixed. As long as you have the newest update, it throttles down the fan and the heat. But what I put even further is move it away from the source of heat. So you don't have to screw around with the fan and its placement and all that. Offer larger internal storage capacity options, which we'd mentioned already. That would be nice. At the end of the day, we could also upgrade it ourselves with a 1 terabyte or with, I believe, or a 2 terabyte. That's the thing. Like 2 terabyte drives exist now. I'd rather almost see 3 options: 512, 1, and 2. But I don't know how much they charge for that. Now, here's the interesting thing. Utilize a CPU with an NPU, which is a low power CPU core, which is what I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Which is in the Intel Core Ultra processor. And it's a huge architectural shift, like it mentions here, because it has, I believe, 4 main cores or maybe 6 main cores. I think it's actually 6 main cores, depending on which chipset you get of the Alpha. It has 2 low power cores. And then, we'd have to look at that again. Let's see. All right, let's get to this. Efficiency cores, that's what it is. So yeah, it has efficiency cores and it has power performance cores. And the efficiency cores are for the operating system and for background processes. The performance cores are for games, anything that's high intensity. So it can run those or it doesn't have to run those. And this honestly is a pretty interesting. And I'm surprised. There must have been some limitations with everything. Welcome, Necrosphere, and welcome back, Andre. I'm surprised we haven't gone this route, but I have a feeling there was probably some limitations between drivers and this concept until now, or maybe it just wasn't worth it. Now we have much more powerful performance or cores. It will. Having more cores, especially with the program that can use more cores, is useful. I think having something to where you have a decent amount of cores, but having 2 or 4, they're cascader. Are you talking about these being bloat cores? I don't think they're bloat cores. I think eventually they could get it to work right. And honestly, this is how we should have been doing it a long time ago. They should have worked heavily into these efficiency and performance cores. And I say that because what it requires to do background processes and stuff like that, and the operating system itself, and maybe menu, let's say the Steam menu, or like on the Steam Deck, the Steam OS, having those menus pop in and out, those would be better to be put onto an efficiency core. Meaning whenever it runs, it doesn't put anything onto the performance cores. It only affects the cores of the efficiency. Cores of the efficiency. Don't mind how I say it, but I think they're good. It makes a lot of sense on paper. I want to see in reality how it's going to work, but I think as long as they're persistent with it, even if it doesn't work with this Intel Ultra, that is, I think they really could. I think I said alpha earlier. I meant ultra. It could work. It just depends on if they want to keep up with it. Sometimes people give up. And this is also another thing is with the MSI Claw, it's going to have this, depending on when this actually comes out, I believe in March. And also, I believe the One X Player X1 is going to have this too. I'm curious to see what the numbers are with this Intel APU, and it could be a game changer. I would prefer my handhelds to remain AMD for Steam Deck or Steam OS, that is, compatibility, but we'll see. We'll see. Provide more polished Armory Crate interface. This is one that surprises me. Armory Crate actually functions almost as good as the Steam Deck OS, or the Steam. I keep on saying Steam Deck, but like the Steam OS overlay and WAP, not WAP. Is it quick access menu? The CAM, quick access menu. Their quick access menus between the two softwares are fairly quick, with obviously Armory Crate being a little slower, but like it mentions here sluggish. I have not witnessed a lot of issues with Armory Crate. Legion Go, completely different story. Once it gets ran a couple times, it starts to get cached and it runs fine. It doesn't have that initial boot up. They should just, another reason the efficiency core could maybe run it first up. Chris Lee, I watch a couple of videos on YouTube, and a lot of people like the Legion Go over the ROG Ally. Yeah, and the thing is, Chris Lee, you also have to take into account maybe my ROG or my Legion Go was okay. It's a really weird mixed thing. Mikhail really likes his Legion Go. I like the Legion Go, but I do think the controller is not great. I don't think that it's a great controller. I think the concepts they were going for were interesting, but didn't fully pan out at times. The FPS mode of the controller was great, but I found myself wanting to just use a mouse, but that's maybe old gamer brain wanting that. It still is cool. the whole thing is a cool concept, but the only thing I really craved after moving back to the ROG Ally was the screen size and just a little bit more battery. I think I just had just a tad bit more battery than everything else about it was. There was a kickstand though. Kickstand was pretty great. Everything else though, in my opinion, was worse experience. Once again though, if you buy a Legion Go and you like it, go for it. That's the thing. I don't want to crap on it to where people don't, I never said it was a horrible device. It just was a disappointing device for me. That being said, Armory Crate is, I think, leaps and bounds better than the Legion Go software. Raichi, we need a standard Joy-Con connector on these portable devices. We're never going to get that. We're never going to get that. We're going to probably have them be similar between all of them, but we're never fully going to have that. I do like the Joy-Con style or the removable controller style. I do like that concept that it brings, but it could have been done a little better in the Legion Go. And I also like that it has USB 4, which supports eGPUs. The ASUS also, the Ally also supports eGPUs, but they're proprietary. The best case scenario is if like you get an Intel chip with Thunderbolt 4, then eGPUs become even more, or even more compatible / better with a really fast interface. Let's see. Continue to provide a wide range of settings options. Dude, the ROG Ally has so many. Team has been incredible in providing updates and patches for ROG Ally. They've done a pretty good job. I wouldn't say they've been incredible, but they've done a pretty good job. Steam and Valve and the Steam Deck there's just nothing better than that as far as handheld support and continued release of drivers and software. Add another USB-C port, of course. The Legion Go has a USB-C port, which is awesome. It does not have I don't know what they're smoking here. This wouldn't be an issue if there was just one more USB-C port, USB-C Thunderbolt 4 port like there is on the Legion Go. That is false. It is an AMD CPU or APU. It does not use Thunderbolt 4. What it uses is USB 4, which is different. Similar, but different technologies. Intel USB 4 is just standard. Make battery life last longer. I agree with this. I think the Ally needs to really double down on like making it a much more, while I survive with the Ally, I will have to admit, the OLED has me convinced that battery life is important more so nowadays. Not as important as being able to play every game, depending on the person is. Like, if you want this to be your console forever and not really have a real PC, then it's important that it plays every game that you're going to want it to play. So, LoJack, welcome on your phone, and internet is dragging ass, dude. They need another internet provider out there, LoJack, for you. Necrosphere, and it's also great to see you, just once again. Necrosphere, maybe since I've never owned a Switch, but the detachable controllers just seem more like gimmick to me. They don't seem as comfortable as the grips on the Steam Deck. They are not, and that is a problem. It was, and I've been blasted. I commented on it multiple times in my video with my Legion Go that it's not comfortable. It tends, and even the Ally, I wouldn't say is the most comfortable, but it's more comfortable. It has at least a little bit of a bend to it. Still has some edging, which over time maybe gets annoying, but I haven't found it on the Ally to be that way. Legion Go, I don't like the edges. They're a little rounded, but it's not. The Steam Deck has a much more natural controller feel. The Legion Go doesn't, and that needs to be remedied. And honestly, it's pretty hollow. I think they could have done it. I don't know why they didn't do it. The design on the Legion Go could have been much better thought through. Like, I was really surprised at what came of it. But yeah, it's definitely not as comfortable. Chris Lee, how much do you think the ROG Ally 2 will cost? Guaranteed it's going to cost the same amount as the ROG 1 coming out, unless they want to correct for inflation. Since inflation's gone up, I don't know how many percentages since, June, or at least when they announced it back in either April or May. No, it's April, because it was like an April 1st joke. Or I don't even know if they did it as a joke, but it was the worst launch I've ever seen when it comes to if you're trying to be super serious, bad timing. If you want to have fun, maybe, and it geared up some good promotion, that might be one of the things that made the ROG Ally successful. Yeah, the Ally 2 I think will be around $700. I don't think the Ally 2 is going to go. All these devices are primed for a price of between $500 and $800. Don't expect them to go above a whole lot unless it's super niche or below. Steam Deck can go below $400 or $500 because it's Valve, it's Steam. They went a very specific route with their design, but these other companies need to make money off their devices. Valve does not. Even though I do think it's false that I don't think Valve's ever really truly lost money on any of their Steam Decks. Maybe if there's a high return rate or a high failure rate with the lowest Steam Deck in the beginning, maybe. Raichi, anyway, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 will destroy those puny APUs. I do think we're going to have a convergence eventually to potentially Snapdragon or just go to the different architecture, mobile phone architecture for Windows and Steam Deck. We'll see. It requires a lot though, and I don't know if SteamOS to be ready for something like that. LoJack, you're telling me about make the move to Starlink. To be honest, expensive, but 200 megabytes versus 2 megabytes. Yeah, dude. Isn't it like $60 a month, or is it 120? Didn't seem like it was too. I need to fix my internet. My internet's $120 right now. It's because it's Comcast or whatever they rebranded to, and every year they want you to choose the plan again, so it lowers the price and it expires, and they just bump it up. And I haven't decided to which plan I'm choosing. I can get right now with what I'm spending, I could get a terabyte and save $10. So I need to select a program before, or a new plan that is. Chris Lee, I have a good question. What PC handheld would last over time? Steam Deck. Steam Deck OLED will probably be Steam Deck. Obviously, Steam Deck OLED. I just go after the OLED because it corrects just a few things that were missing with the Steam Deck. That being said, I still want that better performance, but the Steam Deck OLED is going to be the long-lasting device for the next few years. Even when the Steam Deck 2 comes out, I still think people not necessarily buy the Steam Deck 1 brand new, but I think they'll hold on to it for a while. I think it's a long-lasting device. 100%. Real Savage, welcome. Dr. Sphere, I'm about ready to ditch Spectrum Internet. The playing with my emotions. I hate having them to work in office when I could work from home. Yeah, no, that sucks. Oh, that really does suck, Dr. Sphere. You need to change that. Raichi, it's kind of funny how Chinese producers are making 7-inch displays again. It was going away with the disappearance of the 7-inch tablets. Expect some iterations, and I expect 8 inches to be the norm for our handhelds, is my opinion. Heck, even the Steam Deck OLED is a little bigger than 7 inches. And an 8-inch, I think, is going to be the standard in the next. If it's not at one point this year, obviously it's not with the MSI Claw, but I do think we're going to get to a point where 8 inches is the norm. Might be some wishful thinking added into there, but I think so. LoJack, it's 120, but 600 for this dish thing you get. Yeah, its latency is not as bad because it's a low orbit satellite internet, so it's not quite as bad, but you still suffer some of the issues that can come from orbital satellite internet, but because it is low orbit, it should have much better latency than other ones. So instead of getting a couple hundred, hopefully you have a less than 100 milliseconds, depending on where the servers are that is being pinged for online gaming and stuff like that, LoJack. But 120, yeah, it is a lot. Andre, yeah, it's very expensive here in Canada from the lack of competition. Yeah. Heck, here in America, we paid to have all our internets put in, and then they effed us by double charging, essentially. Like, we subsidized internet companies to lay fiber and lay all this stuff, and then we get sometimes they charge us a ton for it when the infrastructure was paid for by us. Next for easy Steam Deck OLED, easily will last the test of time. Agreed. Steam Deck is a beta of SteamOS. The support SteamOS is not beta. SteamOS, if they want to call it beta, they can call it beta however they want. But SteamOS is very functional and is very much iterated on. It's like, you're not going to get this reference. I was going to say something in the programming world. No. Now it's beta as in it's not for any device yet besides the Steam Deck, and I think Valve is making a little bit of a mistake on that. I'm really surprised they have not worked on, because they want SteamOS or devices to be able to have haptic feedback, or essentially scroll wheel pads or whatever. They want those scroll pads, but they're not necessary. I don't think they're necessary for SteamOS. I think that with certain things, it makes it a little bit more. They'd have to put a couple of exceptions in the operating system, but beyond that, I don't know why they're hell bent on making sure all devices that support SteamOS have that trackpad in there. Next year, I'm saving up for the Steam Deck 2. I should start slapping $30 a month into a Steam Deck 2 savings account. It's not a bad idea. Okay, Andre, thank you for stopping by. Have a good night, man. LoJack, so is everyone a PAL master yet? Yes, I'm a PAL master. No, I'm level 10 in our world on the server. LoJack, I'm paying 120 now for 2 megabytes. It's all a line of sight based from the cell tower. I'm pretty far away from my tower. Yeah, okay, you're paying 120 now. I think that, and that's... Wait, so you're paying, it's 120 for the, or is it 600 for the, what's it called? I would go with, if you can afford it, or if it's not, if it's $600, I'm not doing that. Raichi, okay, the deck is not beta, it's gamma. I don't even know what to say to that, Raichi. Okay, let's move on. So I think the Ally 2, to reiterate, needs to bump up their CPU to either the Intel 1 just to give it a try. So you have those performance and efficiency cores that might help them with their battery problem. If not, then they need to bump this up to a 50. Honestly, they probably need to bump this up to a 50 no matter what, along with a more efficient chip maybe. I know it's asking a lot, but I'd like to see it even if it bulks up the device a little bit more, a 60 watt would be awesome. And a little bit higher resolution, 8 inches, 32 gigs. 32 gigs needs to be the new standard soon. You turned on my heat. And yeah, everything else, it's fine. If it sticks at 7 inches, that's fine, but I definitely think they'd benefit from an 8 inch. So I'm really curious to see, as we get more information on this, it will be very interesting to see where we're going to be at. Okay. We already went over that. The original SteamOS, Linux distro, which weird way to put it, essentially just the forked version of SteamOS that was designed for other devices, including NVIDIA supported APUs. Not APUs, just video cards. Hollow ISO was meant for that. It's now dead. It replaced with an immutable version, which an immutable version is this is such a weird title. So an immutable version means that when you're updating the operating system, I believe in this, like in the sense of it's mutable means it's changeable. Immutable means that in this case, it should, if I'm understanding this correctly, immutable would mean if you go to update the operating system, it's replacing the whole effing operating system, at least the section. And then if there's any extra data with it or settings and all that, and that's stored in somewhere else. SteamOS is essentially a mutable version or a mutable operating system, or a read-only. Some people will say, I didn't think Hollow ISO was a mutable version, so that's really bizarre. But if it wasn't, then yeah, buy a newer immutable Hollow. Yeah, so I think so. Now ready to be used as a daily driver. Let's see here. Extensive testing work. The immutable Hollow ISO is finally ready to be used as a daily drive. Okay, that's impressive. This repository will be okay. So the new support will be stopped. That's train wrecky. No, just reinstall. If you're ever, just as a heads up, guys, if you're ever installing Hollow ISO, it's just reinstall. Like these are expected to be experimental and alpha based SteamOS on your devices. Rachie, I nearly sued Bell Canada for all the problems they gave me over the years. Now out of contract, they give me Gigabyte with Bell TV for $60 Canadian. That's really good, Rachie. Necrosphere, I pay $85 for Spectrum for 300 megabytes, but I never get those speeds. Max I've seen is 70 megabytes download and 11 megabytes upload. And I'm so tired of this highway robbery when AT&T is offering. Dude, get AT&T then. Here's my thing. With yours, it could be a modem issue or it's a node issue. If they're promising you that much speed, I'd potentially talk to them because it could be the modem issue. They've oversold. If you're in a very populated area, they've oversold the node. The node is coming from the backbone or from their main network and splitting out into every home that is connected to that node. Nodes only have a capacity limit. If they go over that capacity limit, it will slow everyone down. Or if everyone's on it at once, then that's where a lot of people get slowness. There's other things that can occur from that, but from my understanding, the biggest one of the number one issues with internet being slower than what you're supposed to get is node capacity being oversold. It's corporate greed, which we all know, shrinkflation, and inflation and all that stuff going on. They're going to oversell their stuff. It's a joke. Chris Lee, like Pokemon, but I can't believe that the packs are up to thousands of dollars, so I don't think I would collect it. Power Worlds, I wouldn't. I'm not buying anything that's $1,000. Necrosphere, I'm level 30 on my offline save world of Power World. I'm on my way to be the very best there ever was. The very best there ever was. Okay. Necrosphere, it must be the node because they were just out to my house troubleshooting last month and upgraded my modem. Yeah, it's the node then. And I would probably yell at them like, hey, at least lower this because I'm not getting the speeds that you're promising. I believe they have like clauses though, depending. Usually they're saying, well, we say up to, obviously, but it's a joke. Just like, well, then I want to pay for the amount that you're giving me. There's a good chance that if you lowered it down to, let's say, 100 megabytes, you'd probably be getting 70 still. So you're just paying for them to oversell the node. Rachie, so basically it's like, and it also depends on where you're at, like, or what time of the day. So if people are using the internet more and more during the time you're using it, it will also slow down with those nodes that are over occupied, utilized. Raichi, so basically is like a hotel splitting 50 megabytes between 20 rooms, 100%. If you notice that some hotels, or when you go to a hotel, sometimes the internet's actually fairly decent. And then if overbooking a hotel is not really a thing, but if there's a lot of people staying in a hotel, you can definitely tell it goes down. Same thing happens with mobile phones and with services. And depending on which band they're using, I can't remember which one has a higher bandwidth or has higher amounts of supported devices. But if you don't have enough antennae to support a region, and there's a lot of people using the same service, especially in that little region on a phone, you'll notice your service goes down a lot, especially your data. Similar. Those because you can think of those antennas as having nodes also, and they have a limited amount of nodes and a little bit amount of ways they connect and speeds and all that. There's a lot of limits that either between the antenna or not having enough antennas. Necrosphere, last week I meant they'll be hearing from an agent customer. Okay. Chris Lee, I don't have great internet. I live in North Carolina. I live out in the country. Yeah. Your best options are probably Starlink. Or probably. That is, when it comes to, and this whole conversation is deviating off a lot, but I don't care. It's fun. I like living in bigger cities, but not too big of cities. But at the same time, I like the idea of like the bigger the area, the more commodities are available. So if you live out in the middle of nowhere, the likelihood of you being able to get to a grocery store, getting a lot of different types of groceries, getting really good internet, a lot of different things goes down the further you go out from a medium to large city. Small city, maybe. I'm from St. George, Utah. It's a small to medium city. It has some decent facilities and stuff like that. It might be an exception, but the further you go from those, expect that. For me, internet's important. I like to go do things. I like to eat out every once in a while at new, fresh places. So where I live not in Salt Lake, but I live in a Salt Lake suburb, essentially. It doesn't take me long to get to Salt Lake. So it's a nice, I live in a house area, but I still have some of the niceties of living in a city as opposed to in the middle of nowhere. Once again, potato, it also depends. Oh, not potato. Depends on what you want. Dickrus, I'm with Optimum, and lots of people have them in my area, and I pay for 1 gigabyte, but I get around 500, 600 megabytes download. I don't remember upload. If it's not fiber, if it's fiber, you should get a lot more. If it's cable, then yeah. That's the thing. Once you get into, like, if you're getting 500 plus, that's pretty good. And you might be able to get 1 gigabyte if you do it, let's say, the first thing in the morning when no one else is using the internet. Chris Lee, no. Jeez. Chris Lee, I don't have great. Did you delete it? Did you? Okay. That was weird. I think you deleted, or someone deleted. Okay. Yeah. It's what Ioneo were going to put on their Ioneo Next Lite, but they've since backtracked. Ioneo Lite is interesting, and we'll see what happens with it. I honestly don't know I don't know what Valve's doing, but they need to get their shit together with SteamOS. But I do definitely want to look into Hollow. Hollow's worked really well for my Ioneo Air. I thought it was really cool. I played Half-Life on it, and it seemed to work really well with it. That being said, there are some certain issues that can make it so it doesn't work. Necrosphere, I just feel like I'm getting a raw dogged with no jelly by Spectrum. You are getting royally screwed. 70, I think, is uncalled for when you're spending. Like once you get 200-300 megs, then we're getting into realms where it's like it's plenty for a lot of things. What do I have? I pay for 400, I believe. Let's see what I get though. I am doing a bunch of different things right now. I'm sure some of my kids are watching TV, all that, but my stuff is uploading. So you can see right now I'm getting 65 megabytes per second, which is kind of garbage. This is much lower. It'd probably be around 10 or something. I don't know, because I'm streaming. This could be lower because I'm streaming, but that's still pretty bad. And they've obviously oversold. I know where I live, the city I live in is contracting a broadband company to put in, not broadband, a fiber internet company to put in citywide fiber. And the cool thing is that they do collective bargaining, so I get better prices on my utilities. And that will probably be able to be added into my utilities if I want, which is awesome. And I think more and more of us should do that. Chris Lee, I don't live out that far, live close to the city. But if you live by yourself, like if you, let's say, live on a plot of land and you don't have much neighbors, then internet companies aren't going to bring fast internet out towards you. Housing density and density of persons in an area will typically increase your likelihood to have good internet because it pays off. There's no reason a business would put out into the middle of nowhere or let's say, like 10-person cul-de-sac if they have to go take fiber a mile or two. It's not going to, I don't think, pay very well. It's not worth it. They have other places they could probably go and improve and get better returns on their investment. Okay. So Konami just stealth launched a Silent Hill game, and in addition to that, they are launching launched a Silent Hill 2 demo, and we're kind of getting away from the hardware into software now, so we'll talk about that. So I want to watch this though, and then I'll if you have anything to say, I'll read it out at the end. I think Short Message is the new game that they launched. So let's just watch that real quick.
Maybe.
And by the way, this is coming from, I believe, the State of the Play union that happened today.
I can be like her.
Bad things happen because of you!
Here goes. Is this a dream? Who's there? What's with this place?
Cherry blossoms bloom within the grasp of death. What are you hiding inside?
Maya? What the fuck?
Strong language. Warning.
Sorry.
Stop! Please!
That's really loud.
What did I do to deserve this?
Okay. I will say Necrosphere, hopefully it's not any more of the previous Silent Hill Ascension trash. I can't even remember Ascension. Silent Hill, I will be honest, they would be better to maybe create a new franchise IP. Silent Hill is a very weird IP. Silent Hill 2 is my favorite Silent Hill for myriad of different reasons, but parts of the game are very flawed. And if they try to iterate off this, I think like a big part of the fan base doesn't want that. Iterate it or like continue the franchise. And then another part are gonna like, for me, I'm gonna enjoy new stuff, but like I just like this game doesn't feel like Silent Hill to me. Chris, let's see. Chris Lee, I don't. Oh yeah, it's. Chris Lee, it's only on the phone sometimes. Okay, yeah. The Icarus is excited for the Unreal 5 version of Until Dawn and Stellar Blade. That's awesome. I did not know that. Yeah, there's the Stellar Blade and Until Dawn, I'm assuming. Okay, interesting. Is this the Unreal 5 version? Yeah. So this is... Was it originally on Unreal 5? We're going to watch just a little bit of this, just to see what the... This game already had pretty good graphics, I'll be honest. For what it was.
There are a few things I need to make sure you understand.
I'm going to give you 10 seconds.
No, please!
So is this...
Beyond our control, you have to accept this in order.
Yeah, is this going to be an upgrade? I mean, obviously, if they're moving it to the Unreal 5, there's a reason. Unreal 4, I'm assuming it was on Unreal 4 originally, and so it's an Unreal 5 upgrade, which isn't quite the same. It will improve some of the effects and stuff like that, but textures doesn't improve it that much. Okay, Icarus 4, yeah. So, or Icarus, it's Unreal 4. Engine 4, that is. Stellar Blade, it's... Until Dawn is really good. I'm glad that they did that, but I wouldn't pay full price for a game like that. Not again. I thought it was good enough on PS4. Rachel, who's making the upgrade? I don't know. I'm a bad person. I did not check. I'm assuming it's one of their studios. They probably have maybe a sister or daughter studio, but I don't. Rebuilt and enhanced for PS5 and PC. Yeah, rebuilt, I don't know. This looks very similar. I honestly think it's probably just a subset of the studios. It's probably like I don't think they're outsourcing it. Could be. They could be outsourcing it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to watch the whole thing of this. This is going to be copyright music, isn't it?
The story begins on post-apocalyptic Earth, where a mysterious enemy called the Natiba,
as about any game does,
has forced the human race to flee to an off-world colony. Players will take control of Eve, a member of the 7th Airborne Squad. Her mission is to save the planet by defeating the Elder Natiba.
I still like this game. I still like the way it looks and
All
everything.
we must do is complete the mission.
I like hack slash games though, and it looks fun. I just am worried that the world's going to be a little bit void, but that's looking pretty populated. So yeah, maybe Japan's learning, because I believe this is a Japanese-made game, right? And so I think they're learning about all this. Cool. As much as I want to watch the rest of this, we don't have a whole lot of time left. I think Stellar Blade is sneaking up to be, and it comes out next week? Damn. Oh, wait, Stellar Blade okay, when does this come out? So the pre-order is starting next week. This does look good. If this comes out this year, it might be in my top 10. In the sense of I'm kind of wanting a nice new hack and slash game, and if this has a good enough gameplay, I think I'll be very happy with it. Now, this one right here is, I believe, Silent Hill 2's a new trailer for it. Graphically, it's not the most impressive, but I still think it looks decent. As long as it runs well, so it runs well on the Steam Deck, I think it's fine. I think the graphics still good. The bad guys are still creepy as hell. Reap what you sow. I'm the legs monster. I'm made of legs. From my understanding, some Silent Hill people are getting a little, they're not as excited for this, but I am. I honestly, I'm here for Silent Hill 2. It's not as, Silent Hill is not as good as the Resident Evil or Dead Space series for me. It's still very classic, and I love Silent Hill 2, so I'm really excited for this. Stellar Blade isn't out on PC. It says BT Maverick. By the way, welcome. I don't know. I honestly, let's see here. Oh, it's not coming. It's only going to be for PS5. So it's a PS5 exclusive. That's right. Interesting. Looks like I'll be getting a PlayStation Portal. I semi-kid, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Or I'll play it off the Steam Deck off for my PS5. I don't play my PS5 at this screen, but I might play it with this. Who knows? Okay. It was, the initial release date was 2023, but it's the game is scheduled for release for 2024 April, so in a couple of months. Awesome. That's good to know. I'm actually excited for that. That would be an awesome one on the Steam Deck, in the sense of I love hack and slash on the Steam Deck. Necrosphere, I assume the same studio that brought us the original studio, Supermassive Games. Yes, Supermassive Games, I think they have a big enough studio now where I think they have multiple projects. I really like Supermassive games, so. The Icarus, I'm thinking of getting a PS5 again instead of another handheld PC for Stellar Blade. Yeah, honestly, Icarus, how I kind of play it is I have my, the most important systems for me are my PC. Then it's a coin toss on the PlayStation 5 or the Steam Deck. If there was enough exclusives for the PS5, then I'd go the PS5 and then the Steam Deck. As I have my phone, I have projects I need to work on and all that. On going, on my, even though I do a lot of handheld stuff on this channel, in fact, people know me for my handheld stuff, and I don't do handheld videos, they don't do as well. I game mostly on my PC, and that being said, I do game more and more on my Steam Deck, but yeah, I don't know. PS5 is not bad. Not a bad one, depending on what games you're going to get. BT Maverick was not impressed with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Looks outdated, janky, and like games revealed. I loved my survival horror. Yes. I don't think it... So here's the thing. If it has a lot of imperfections, that's very Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2's fog, from my understanding, was a draw distance limiter. It made it so they didn't have to draw as far, but by doing that, they made it uber creepy with Silent Hill 2. watching the multiple Silent Hill 2 videos, I'm super here for it. I'm also not a die-hard Silent Hill fan. I'm a horror or survival horror. I'm a horror fan through and through. So give me something that's creepy enough, has a good story. I'm down for it. And because it's nostalgic for me, I think I'm going to like Silent Hill 2. And I don't like playing the original one as much. So Nier Automata with more assets than ever. Pfft. Are you talking about Stellar Blades? Nier Automata? Kind of. Necrosphere. Now, this is the Silent Hill game to get. Total Resident Evil vibes, but classic Silent Hill setting. I agree with that, Necrosphere. Sony is lacking a lot of games lately because of Xbox. 100%. There's that. And we're kind of in this weird lull of a lot of the typical studios that would be pumping out games a little bit quicker are taking longer because it's costing more and taking longer to build games. It's just what it is. Like, I feel like we would be getting a bunch of Uncharted. We'd be getting a lot of these different games that are very iconic for every system. And I just don't feel like the PS5 has been worth it, even though I've had one since almost day one. I say almost. I think I bought it 6-7 months afterwards. I finally got it. I've played games on it and I like it. I have not played it probably in almost a year, but I've also been doing mainly handheld stuff and doing this channel. So, no, I need Stella cakes on my Steam Deck. Good gosh, Necrosphere. There's a lot of cake in that. Chris Lee, what do you think about Blade coming out later on? Are you talking about Stellar Blade? It's not. It's only coming out a couple of months from now. I think it's fine. They didn't hit their original release date and all that. Okay. Cascoder used Chiaki. I do have a Chiaki. Crap. I have a really easy to use guide with Chiaki, except for I used a Python script I was hosting on a free service, and I need to renew it every 3 months, and I don't think I've renewed it in a month or two, so I'm sure people are pissed off on that video. Honestly, I want to convert it over to JavaScript. JavaScript is not the best with mathematical computations, and so the computations I was doing with Python was not translating to JavaScript very well. BT Maverick, Stellar Blade is a third-party exclusive. Usually those come out on PC unless they haven't had time to port it yet. It's not coming out for PC. And so there's a good chance it will come out for PC. I agree, BT Maverick, but I bet you Sony more than ever is like, no, F this business. Everyone's going to be releasing, like, that we can have control over, is going to be releasing for PlayStation first, and then you can do a timed release of PC a little later. Because I think they're going to be getting into super competitive mode against Xbox. Xbox just ripped everything out on the competition. So it'll be interesting to see how this all goes. Even though Xbox isn't competing for PlayStation, they're just competing for more money in every way possible. That's their plan. They plan to be streaming games in like 10 years and replacing Xbox completely with that. Necrosphere doesn't even own a PS5. That's fine. You pretty much, Necrosphere, you run Steam Decks. Necrosphere is like a Steam Deck loyalist and is really good with his Steam Deck. Casco to stream someone else's PS5 without them noticing. Good gosh. The other Silent Hill short story is out right now. Yes, it is. It's on PS5. It's a short story. I don't know how much it is. Doesn't make me think of Silent Hill that much, but I'm not a diehard Silent Hill fan, so I wouldn't know what to look out for. But I know after talking to some people about it, there's a lot of that community is a very vicious community. They probably are saying that this Silent Hill, the new Silent Hill, is a ripoff of Silent Hill, even though it's made by it's the IP made by the same company technically. Chalice, welcome. I'm with you on that one. Now I'm seeing PS5s going for less than $300 in my area. Damn, that's not that expensive. No Blade. Are you talking about Blade? You talking about Blade, the game, the movie? Marvel's Blade. Interesting. I've not, honestly. I didn't watch the Game Awards. I was fairly sick during this point. Like I was just sleeping and not doing well at this point. So this is Marvel's Blade. Bethesda? Okay, and then it's Arcane Lion. Okay.
Votre attention, le soleil est sur le point de se coucher. Tous les citoyens sont priés de se mettre à l'abri en
This is Middle East.
jusqu'à l'aube. Attention, the sun is currently setting. All citizens are required to shelter indoors.
Turn that shit up. Relax, man. I don't bite. Lock up tight now. Night's just getting started.
Yeah. I want to see some gameplay. Do they have gameplay?
Attention, the sun.
Night's just.
We just got a.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know what the gameplay's like. It really depends on the gameplay. It has a chance to be good. It has a chance to be bad. I think after RoboCop, I think Blade will be a good one. I like Blade movies. I think the Blade movies are really fun. I like the concept. As far as Arcane and as far as Bethesda and all that, I think. And Raichi, you mentioned many are trashing it because Arcane made Redfall. Redfall in itself has, at its core, was good. If they would have gone back and like reworked a lot of things and did it on a better engine, like a new engine, essentially just Unreal 5 probably, along with really mocking out a better story, they had the world and the core parts of it were really good. They had something going there. The problem was it took them a long time to build something that was not worth $60. It's worth $30. I'm going to buy it eventually. I think the game's fun. I liked playing it, but it's definitely not worth $60. And I don't think just because they come out with one game that's a flop that the studio is bad. But they have multiple studios, right? I don't think this is. I think they might have dismantled that studio potentially too. Cascader, from the creators of Redfall comes another vampire video game. Dude, I'm always down for vampire video games. I think they're awesome. I don't think we have enough vampire video games, personally. I don't think we have enough zombie games. Give me a good, you could pretty much do any genre, any trope, and as long as you introduce new aspects into it and fun gameplay and all that, you're good. You're good. And there's tons of stuff. If we can't do that, then gaming's dead now. Not the same creators of Redfall. Arcane Leon is the makers of Dishonored. Exactly. Arcane Austin is for Redfall. Exactly. I think didn't Austin get canned though, or at least it's going to. Blade takes place in France. Oh, that was definitely not French. I don't know what that was, but yeah, it shows France in the things, but like what I was reading, that makes sense though. That makes sense. Cascader wants to see some gameplay too. Yeah, it's definitely like if I was Arcane, I'd be like, show the gameplay. We can't do because Redfall did not show gameplay for the longest period. They need to stop doing these. They need to show gameplay. And I get it's a sneak peek of like, hey, there's a Blade game coming out. Maybe they had a deadline. I don't know if you guys have ever had bosses that were like, hey, we're going to be unreasonable deadline. And you don't meet your deadline. Yeah. it might only be on Xbox Series X. Crystally, I'd be really surprised if I don't think there's any Xbox exclusive game that's not on PC yet. So, yeah, the Icarus is right. I think it's going to be on Steam. Raichi, sadly, the Redfall destroyed the reputation for Xbox for being the first $70 Microsoft Studio game. It didn't destroy it. People are going to be very forgiving if once a new game comes out that's good. So it didn't help though. BT Maverick, pretty sure everyone has forgotten about Redfall and isn't holding Xbox to that flame. 100%. People are very reactionary in the moment. Redfall wasn't as bad as what a lot of people were saying. Last year had much worse games than Redfall. Cascoder, 70% of Arcane Austin left during development of Redfall. They're still alive. They're in Austin, so I beg to differ. They're in Texas. They might be dead now. I'm just kidding. Also, Austin had layoffs last year as well. Yeah, they had layoffs. What people don't realize with the development of games, with software, with everything, there's internal conflicts, there's internal motives, there's internal strife, there's internal everything. We're talking about humans here, and we don't know what fully went on at Redfall. Unless you got, I haven't watched any documentaries on it or see if they've come out with any statements. There's a lot that could have really screwed up Redfall. The problem is that they should have been transparent, and more companies are transparent and say, hey, we need more time, the better. Or say, hey, we screwed up big time. We're going to release this as an early access. I know Microsoft wouldn't want that, but at least get it, if you want to get a little bit of money going, release it as a cheap early access and improve upon it. And do something like Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood's a great example. There's a lot of people that did not like that. I love Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood, I think, was an amazing game. If they wouldn't have gone that route, I think they would not have lost as much, in my opinion. Raichi, Avatar, Fight for Balance, King Kong, Gollum, Redfall, they make the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, but King Kong, Gollum is not anywhere in the same realm as Redfall. Not even close. That is offensive to me to even compare King Kong Gollum to Redfall. That being said, I agree. I think you could probably replace Redfall with a bigger flop than that. But yeah, the Fantastic Four. King Kong and Gollum were just garbage. I was a little worried that Redfall was going to be one of the worst games last year. And then, yeah, King Kong and Gollum came out, and you're just like, okay, are you just going to release everything? What happened to the days where this project's so garbage, we're not releasing it? They need to take a chapter from Valve. There you go, BT Maverick. The Walking Dead game takes the 4th place spot. Yes, you're right, BT Maverick. I was going to say there's a 4th spot there. There's something worse than the Redfall. I don't even know if I'd put in Redfall as in the top 10 worst games of last year. That being said, I'm not saying it's a good game. For the common person, for the common man out there, me on my high horse and my throne over here, it's good enough for me. But really, I just like that style of game. Take out Redfall and add that new dumpster fire of the Walking Dead game. Also, the day before. The day before is the other one. The day before is such an interesting game. Too much marketing up front, and they just spent all their money on marketing. I love that you guys are discussing this. Honestly, I think it's great. Okay. So we need to end this soon. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, had to be taken down twice. So the early access. So if you paid $100 for early access, you lost access for most of the time. Day one, there was a completion bug where I think people would just end up in a completed state of the game. And then day two, I don't remember what the bug was, but they had to take it down again. And so they did reward $30. I think, let's see, deluxe edition. It's $20 or $30 they reward. Yeah, it was $20 in-game currency that can be used to purchase cosmetics in the in-game store, which is cool that they did that. I don't think it's fair. What if you don't want the cosmetic? In fact, the concept that there's an in-store game, an in-game store that you can buy cosmetics for that much money is a joke, and they screw them for that. I honestly am getting a little tired of this, and I'm one of the last ones to get super tired about this. But I'm kind of just over. I've had it with cosmetics in games being just expensive in these cash cows. We already bought the game for $50, $60. Don't bleed us dry. And the worst part is it's Rocksteady. I like Rocksteady. They've come out with some good games, and they have the original Batman game. And I don't know if I should do a spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, hope you don't like the original Batman games on PC, or, the Batman Arkham Asylum, et cetera, because a certain thing happens to a certain someone in this game that just like spits on the whole past. It's a joke. Let's just say that. But it is what it is. 2023 is wild. It has some of the worst games ever and best. 100% Cascoder. Agreed. Alan Wake 2 being my favorite game of last year. Alan Wake 2 is so good. I love it. The Icarus, the day before were the devs blamed the YouTube players for ruining their games. Yeah, it's 100%. That being said, I'm reading stuff on this. The Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. It is not as bad as YouTube and game journalists have said in the past. I've read, and this is coming from game journalists that said it was bad, or it was going to be really bad. But it's definitely not as, it's not going to be a good game. I don't know what the rating's going to be. But YouTubers want, and I try not to do this too much, even though I sometimes have to, because you got to get someone to click in, and a little bit of, it's not clickbait if it's true, but they have to take strong sides on stuff. I'm a little bit more lenient typically, but they take strong sides. And so everyone was just more so on some games, just shit on things. I shit on the Legion Go more than maybe I should have, but those were, my opinions. I do think, but at the end of the day, I still said it was recommended for some people. But from my experience, it wasn't my favorite. People didn't like that, but I was pretty generous with that review. But yeah, early access, journalists and everything really killed. I don't even know why they released Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, without a huge revamp, because it was toxic from the community, from the journalist community, and from news agencies and YouTubers and all that. Cascoder, is crazy how everyone forgot about how bad The Last of Us PC port was by the end of 2023. That's because it really wasn't that bad of a PC port, in my opinion. It was not a well optimized game. I played it on my PC just fine. It was great. I loved it. It just was not good for low end PCs. So that being said, I wouldn't say it's that bad of a port. Necrosphere WB just needs to make the game offline mode. Muda has pissed on his latest video. Muda. Okay, here I'm gonna give a little hot take on Muda. Muda needs to chill, because everything pisses him off these days. He just needs to chill. It's a game, and I agree. Offline mode or always online mode, stupid. For a game that's going to perform poorly, you think they just remove it? There's who's going to, who's going to copy it? But I just don't know. I'm not that pissed about it. I don't think it's worth being pissed. I have 101 other issues going on in my life. And in the world, and in this, and if you're in America, like health care, there's so many different things to be more worried about than always online games. I'm always online typically too, so I'm a little bit of a broken person. Necrosphere Muda for some order. So yeah, so he's talking about Muda, which is some ordinary gamer. You can go watch his channel. I like a lot of his takes, but then once again, I don't have to. You don't have to agree with me or anyone else all the time. It's just nice to find when we have common ground, but we'll see. Hate gets a lot more clicks than love does, which makes me sad. True Blue Magic Dude, I wouldn't say it's Rocksteady. A lot of that team left and made a new company. Right. That's true. It's true. And I honestly, the game looks good. Like, you look at this clip, it looks fun. It looks good. I like the concept. But the problem is they were probably given by higher ups like, hey, Suicide Squad did really good. The movie did. We were commanded to make a game. We know that maybe this deviates a little bit more than what you normally make, but make this. And yeah, they did. And they probably shouldn't have. But that being said, is what it is. Raichi, let the game die and get the full game for $4 with the cosmetics like the Avengers game. True. It's definitely one of those games that I will buy when it's like $10, $20. If I feel like it's a really good deal at 20, like let's say in like 6 months it's $20, I don't need the cosmetics. If it's with the cosmetics, cool, but like I don't need them. But yeah, these companies need to understand, like, you can't bleed us dry. There's so many games coming out, so much to spend money on. If it's a single player experience, I'm going to be moved on. I'm going to play my 10 to 20 hours of the game that it takes to beat it, and I'm moving on to the next game. Cosmetics are fun for a second playthrough, but I will have to say I'm probably more pissed at the in-store cosmetics and games than I am the online play. Just online play doesn't bother me that much. I don't know who doesn't. I doubt there's very many people that play games in an area where they wouldn't have access to internet. Because it just pings a server. Cascader, the game is called Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. What do you think happens to members of the Justice League? Yeah, 100%. And I know that, and I think even from the trailers that we knew that Batman. But that being said, it's still, you have this iconic character through multiple games, and they could have just created a new world and just had it be based on that. Like the Justice League. Is it Justice League games? The fighter games? I think that's what it is. This, though, it's fine. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. I just don't like the concept that, like, I'm killing the old Batman that I grew, loved, cultured, raised him like he was from a little bat to just murk him in a game that I play, the newest game I'm playing. Necrosphere, it's all about it being a live service, and the servers suck ass for Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Does it, though? I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that per se. Maybe it says it in here, but I've played online games. Don't usually piss me off too much with their access and all that. But I don't know. And Muda, I'm sure, is valid and is being pissed off. Chris Lee, can we look at Paradise's project as a zombie game? It would play and look good on Steam Deck. Pardiz? We can look at it towards the end. Or, I mean, we're really getting close. We're going to only spend a little bit more time on this because this is controversial. They had a game-breaking bug that had the story mode complete. That's why it was offline, plus the server issues. That's what. Okay, so that's where the offline issues kind of came in. And then they also, was it this game that they dropped DRM support at the very last two? So, yeah, I think they need to be more transparent. I think people are valid. I just do think some people get really pissed and do bomb threat kind of stuff. And I'm over that. Just don't buy it. Cascader, I feel terrible about what's likely to come for Rocksteady's employees. Dude, yeah, the game industry is just doing a lot of, like, layoffs right now. And I was a product or affected by layoffs over a year ago. It freaking sucks. And when you have a whole industry doing this, it's a lot harder to get that new job. So, but the nice thing is a lot of these companies, they do offer really good packages. My package only made it so I could last like 2 months. These companies usually make it so you can last 6 months, which is typically enough time, but we'll see. It just sucks. Rachie, too many are comparing Arkham Knight with this game, and I won't deny the look of 9-year-old Unreal Engine 3 game looks better. I think if you dig down into certain areas, probably be wrong, but comparing a 10-year-old game to something newer, sometimes you forget like how much things improve and what your mind had filled in back then. But effects can really affect it. So I'm sure in a lot of ways it did look better, but I don't know. Suicide Squad did horrible. The second one was direct to HBO Max due to pandemic, even though it was better than the first. Well, yeah, the first Suicide Squad was eh. Did it do horrible? The second one was really good. I liked it. BT Maverick, I just hope it sells well enough so that they don't completely cut out Rocksteady, but worse enough to let them back to make a single player games. Yeah, I agree with that. Injustice, that's it. Injustice is pretty good. I like that game a lot. Yeah, and then Kester agrees that he wished it wasn't the Arkham canon. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it uses the Arkham canon. I wish it didn't. I wish it was like the comics where they usually do one-off universes like, what if? I'm down for that 100%. Rachie, hey, at least the PlayStation players got their $100 Platinum Trophy on their PlayStation Network account. Nice. BT Maverick, RIP, Kevin Conroy. Wait. Oh, yeah. That's right. He's the one that voiced a lot of Batman, wasn't he? Yes, R.I.P. Kevin. Well, I believe without those keyboard warriors, Rachie, we will be paying $200 for video games by now. No. People aren't paying. Like it's a balancing act. It's And in fact, we should probably be paying more like $100 by now. With the way inflation's worked over the past 30 years of gaming, to be fair, we're paying less now than we were way back in the day in the sense of like inflation-adjusted prices. So that's nice. So at least our games aren't rising much. They are up to $70 now, I guess. But if you're doing inflation adjustments, it probably should be more like $100. That being said, they're still they want to hit. They have the research. They have these people collect data all day. Doesn't mean they get it right. They're not going to release something that they're going to get drastically less purchases from. So there's a balancing act, and those keyboard warriors, I don't think do enough to warrant being like that. That's just my opinion, though. Cascutter Kevin Conroy didn't voice Batman. He is Batman. Okay, I agree with you, Cascutter. Okay, this is a big one and kind of sucks. So Montreal, so Eidos Montreal confirms 97 people laid off by Embracer. Embracer is one of these comes in investment companies and just is kind of cleaning house a little bit, and they were working on a new Deus Ex game, which I'm a huge fan of Deus Ex. I've played and beaten all the Deus Ex games, maybe not the DLCs, but I've played and beaten all and the mobile app game. This makes me super, super not happy that they come in and they kill something that would have actually done probably really well. And I don't get these companies. Yeah, the newest Deus Ex game was set to start full production later this year. So it was in pre-production, so that's a little bit different. So I don't know. Maybe they have some other concepts coming out of different games. Because Embracers, I'm sure, looking at all the different portfolio pieces and IPs that they have, and they decided to cancel this one. But I don't know why. Deus Ex does, like, I think the last few have done well enough. Competition keeps games from skyrocketing. Imagine if Sony had no competition. BT Maverick, that's a part of it. But there's also, they also know that, like, if they only charge, let's say if they charge $200 for a video game, which games used to actually be more, and then they've gone down, and then they've started to go back up a little bit because the pool of gamers back 50 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it was, when with the oldest of systems, didn't have a huge game pool or a gamer pool, so they had to charge more in order to make up, and they just were not profitable. Nowadays, we have a nice little pool of gamers to buy games from, and so yes, if there was only 200 games and they charge $200, they might get away with it, but because of competition, and competition is always going to be there with games, unless there's like one or two mega games that come out that just everyone wants to play and no one wants to play anything else, which I doubt it. Everyone has different tastes. Those are all theoretical things that will never happen. $200 games, sure, it's going to happen. That doesn't mean that every game is going to be $200. And if people can't, if people are going to choose a $30 indie game over, like, the indie studios and all that, as long as they stay afloat, are always going to definitely make sure AAA studios don't go too crazy with their prices for now. Necrosphere, PlayStation knows that the PlayStation loyalists are simps and will pay anything they ask for it. I agree, and there's still a cutoff. People still have cutoffs. People can't afford everything in this world. So, but yes, they will. Nintendo too. Nintendo Sims are out there too. Most of those costs have come from the cost of the cartridge chips and Nintendo licensing. Yeah. Sure, but the games still cost a lot on the stores, and yeah, we could go a lot more into it, but yeah. Let's we need to call. I was planning to be done at 9. I'm never done. Oh yeah, Welcome to Paradise. That's right. This game, I forgot. Yeah, this one was announced recently. This one came out of nowhere. Good job, Chris Lee. I believe you're the one that recommended this. Let's see this.
Hello there, Survivor. I haven't seen you here in a while.
Oh my gosh, it's like
you've been having fun with your.
It's like Fallout graphics.
So, do you know all about Paradise now? Just in case, it might be time for a little reminder. First things first. In Paradise, you'll get nowhere without a Zombot. So, take the time to capture your future allies. However, be careful. If it's red, it's already taken. Oh, and don't try with the animals. That won't work out well. Once you have a few Zombots, you need to be prepared. Having a Zombot is good, but proper protection and a weapon.
They can use weapons.
Better. After all, this Paradise is still untamed. And even if you think you're invincible, you're not. So, if you don't want to end up like your Zombots, analyze the situation before jumping into the fray. Maybe if you prepare well, you'll end up like me. Well, anyway, have you cleared the area? Collected everything that might be useful? It's time to turn this little clearing into a cozy little retreat. Build yourself a cabin somewhere to maintain your Zombots and the means to defend it. Your camp will be your new home, so don't neglect it. Once you've moved in, it's time to get to work. Adventure doesn't wait. Put to use what you learned doing odd jobs at the weekend. Leave the keys to your house with your Zombots. They'll hold the fort while you're away. And as for you, it's time to set out for adventure.
Okay. Shaun of the Dead. Essentially, they saw Shaun of the Dead. They're like, we're going to enslave zombies at the end of the world. Because that's what they did at the end of Shaun of the Dead. When they got the whole zombie thing taken care of and all the extra zombies, they were like pushing carts, I believe, and et cetera, et cetera. In game, they were in we don't need to go on with that. Chad, welcome. It looks good. I'm curious. It's okay for $30. I'm down. I was gonna say if this is like a $60 game, $70 game, I'm not getting it. If it's for $25 or $29, I'm down for it. I think this looks fun. It's also split screen. Oh, split screen and co-op. So it's shared and split screen. See, that's really cool. I like that. It's definitely a new take on the whole thing. It's got the survival base building in it. It looks good. I wouldn't say it's my number. It's in my top 10 picks for this year, but I do love zombie games, and I honestly, for the Steam Deck, I think this would be really fun on it. So it'll be interesting to see. Like this would be a really really fun game for my Steam Deck. Let's see, and it comes out in February. Okay, I might be able to, maybe this will be the game I play when I go to Atlanta, Georgia this next month. Okay. Let us go to. Wait, hold up. Necrosphere. They bought the PS Portal. Enough said. I don't think that was an overpriced device for the. It was a little overpriced, but it wasn't like overpriced. It's a smooth experience, and they like it. And so, I think it's gotten really good reviews. And at the end of the day, it does what they say it does. And for $200, yeah, sure, but it works. And so I honestly might get a PlayStation Portal at one point to play my PlayStation 5 and and other places of the house because I don't like to play it where the PlayStation 5 is for some reason. Cascoder, capture allies, Pal World should sue. Oh my gosh, right? Cascoder, yeah. See, it's. I like that you brought that in. So it's you got your Pokeball and you're like, I choose you, Zombie Chew, and you capture him with the helmet. Yeah, no, it's like it's like almost a top down, Pal World. Raichi, so much slavery lately on video games. Yeah, 100% Raichi. It's partially because there's a lot of slavery going on in other mediums, I guess. I don't know. Necrosphere, I'm going to install the demo for this to check it out. Ooh, there is a demo. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, that's a good call. Your favorite zombie movie or 3 favorite? Favorite zombie movie is Zombieland, 100% Chris Lee. Zombieland 2. Third favorite probably, I'm probably wrong on this, but like probably Shaun of the Dead. I like comedy zombies. I like comedy horror actually quite a bit. It's one of my favorite. Like what they do in the shadows. What we do in the shadows. That is the the movie's good. The TV series is amazing. I love it, and I love comedy horror. Necrosphere, you can't connect remotely outside the house though. That's the problem. With the PlayStation Portal, you can. From my understanding, you're supposed to be able to connect anywhere over the web. You can't do it with Steam Deck as easily. There's some hacks and stuff, but no, you can, because you can. I believe you can connect with your PlayStation with. I've done it with my PC and with my phone from someone else's internet. So, Raichi, $200 for the Portal. I got the PS TV for $30. But the PlayStation TV does not have a screen built into it. It's not highly optimized to run. Cascoder, you cannot connect to public Wi-Fi that requires a web page to sign in. Okay, yeah, that's super different between what you're saying, Necrosphere and Cascoder. They do need to fix that, and it's something they could fix, probably fairly easy. We'll see if they do. I'm not sure a public Wi-Fi spot is going to have good enough internet to run it very well typically. But if I was playing my PlayStation Portal, because I don't live in a big city, I'd be playing it off of my phone's internet or whoever I'm visiting's internet. True Blue Magic Dude. I think my favorite 1990 Night of the Living Dead. The 1990 Night of the Living Dead is pretty good. All the zombie movies are really good. I don't watch them a lot. I've watched them once or twice. I always go back to zombie comms, that is. Love them. Left 4 Dead, zombie comm game that does it right. It's mostly zombies with a little comm, and I love it. That's what I was... okay, Necrosphere, you're referring to... So you can play it outside your house, you just can't play it on public Wi-Fi. Right? Okay, Parsec is just superior. I can remote play at 3 megabit 720p. Interesting. I'll have to look into Parsec again. It's software for remote play, right? Okay. As far as Cascader, you sent me the patch notes for Pal World. Please stick by if you want to help me with some things with the channel. But okay, fix an issue where the game would crash under certain conditions. I did have my Pal World game crash. Is there any like standout changes? Oh, just tons of bug fixes. Like pals would get stuck everywhere. Limitations, the fixed an issue where players on a dedicated servers and co-op were receiving damage twice. I don't know if I ever got that, but then again, there was times where I got like flooded with damage really quick, and I got flash killed essentially. Okay, let's start wrapping this up. Want a Left 4 Dead new one with 100 different places and more people to play as. Chris Lee, I agree. Valve is very weird about it. If they don't feel like they can iterate on something, they are not going to, even though they could easily iterate on all this stuff. A Cascader, the AI is gooder. I'm glad they also fixed the grammar that you have. With Left 4 Dead, I'd love to see a TV series. I think an HBO's Left 4 Dead series would kick ass. Necrosphere bug fix was mostly yes. Okay, we're gearing down to the end of this video. I'm kind of curious about what your guys' takes, and if you could help me with this would be very helpful. I could do a poll, but I don't feel like the core audience does the polls well, but... Should I release opinion pieces on the Brink channel? Because I'm not doing as many game releases there. I might do reduced gameplay there. And like, I do takes and do a lot of stuff over there. But should I release because I released the Pal World video. It's an opinion piece on here, and it didn't do very well. That being said, I have not been releasing consistently for months, so that could be part of it. I know my Legion Go did fairly well, but the Pal World one didn't. And so I'm just kind of curious what your guys' thoughts on this. Should I keep my opinion pieces on my alt channel and stick to informational pieces that's more about hardware, opinion pieces on hardware, and then I can still do my game videos of like top 10 videos for the deck or games for the deck, or maybe doing some guides and stuff like that, and some reviews on games revealed. Would you guys like to see more? I have a lot of ideas. I'm just kind of curious, and you don't have to tell me or not, but I'm just trying to find this like nice little, I just don't want to have like 5 different channels, but I do want to talk about game development as I get more and more into it. I want to talk about games, and I also want to talk about hardware. Dickrus, you want more reviews. Do you want, I'll do hardware reviews. I don't like doing game reviews. Part of the reason is hardware reviews, it's easy for me to sit down and run a bunch of tests that I've run multiple times on other devices. I actually have a thumb drive that has games on it that I do run my tests on. Hardware is easy for me. Games takes me, a good game review is going to take me 50 plus hours. And if that's just for like a 20-hour game. It's going to take me a lot of work. Chris Lee, do you want me to do a poll? I'm going to do a poll on the channel then about it then. I've just done the poll a lot, and I always get like a lot of people say they want any of my content, and then the other people that say whatever. Cascoder, you need to diversify topics on various channels. However, you should have put that Power World video on Games Revealed. You should have put that. I did put it on the Power World video on Games Revealed. Are you saying I shouldn't have? I'm curious. However, is implying something that I don't think your statement meant to say. You need to diversify topics on various channels. No, I agree. Okay, here's the thing. I could be stuck as a hardware channel, like certain places, or I could be a reactionary channel, or I could be whatever. And I'm trying to find that nice one. The nice, like, little place in between on which one to do. Necrosphere, 1 or 2 channels is plenty. I'm trying to learn coding very soon to make my own indie. Nice, Necrosphere. That's awesome. No, my Power World one wasn't put on the Brink, but honestly, it's an opinion piece. It probably should have gone on the Brink one. Maybe. I'll toy around with it. So what I'll probably do is I'll do a couple of opinion pieces because honestly, because I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor today, and he's pretty sure that I just very sensitive to the inversion going on and some other stuff, and it's caused, because I was also sick, it's caused my sinuses and these things in your nose / the back, whatever, to be inflamed, and so it's causing a lot of mucus and a lot of stuff to then affect a lot of other parts, which includes affecting this ear and other things. So I'm going to be put on a new steroid and something else. So hopefully this is the last thing to get me back to pre-November health. Then I can get back into getting things out. But I don't know where I was going with all that. But yeah. Opinion pieces are the easiest ones for me to do. Next ones to do are hardware reviews. Those are really easy for me because I don't know what it is, but I can blast through and just like use it, like let's say headphones for like a couple of days without thinking about it. But I'll make mental notes throughout the day. Playing a game and doing a review on the game is much harder for me. I didn't mind the Power World video on this channel. Necrosphere, try a different thumbnail for. Yeah, I think we need. We're gonna need to play around with it because Wolf's helping me, and we're gonna play around with the thumbnails and stuff like that too. Wolf, it probably didn't do as well because it was the first video. I honestly, Wolf, I think you're right on that, but my Legion Go did pretty well. It got 7,000 views, which is pretty good. I do think the thumbnail might need to be tweaked with. It's just I think even with Legion Go, I think I went and redid the thumbnail later on. We'll have to. Well, it's okay. We'll have to talk about that. A lot of thumbnails I do are I'm still like the thumbnail thing is kind of a iffy thing even when I make them. Okay. Would you guys be interested in, and so I'm not meaning to take up too much more time, we're about done. Would you guys be interested in, the thing is with polls is that, and maybe I'll have to release multiple ones, is that I want to just know, I would like a multi-choice poll to know which things you are interested in. I don't want to know if you're interested in this more than this. I want to know which things you're interested in. Would you be interested in additional podcast episodes that are also dev focused? Because I want to talk with a bunch of dev people for games. So, Rachia, Sage once told us to use clickbait and scam everyone. I could do a little bit more clickbaity titles in the sense of like catchier titles. But I don't like, I wouldn't lie. Some people don't understand that clickbait. If clickbait is something that if they clicked into it and they don't get fulfilled what their title says, that's clickbait. If you're leaving the user or the viewer like, what is this? I'm not getting what you promised me. Then it's a net negative for the brand. Chris Lee, would you want to see Zombieland 3, the movie, or a series with the same cast? That was my last question. Yes, Chris Lee, I want to see Zombieland 3. I'm a huge, despite a lot of people, I like seeing, even if it's sometimes crappy, iterations on my favorite series and stuff like that. So it has to be really bad for me not to like it, but doesn't make the first two movies not good. Necroser, yes, game dev podcast would be interesting. Okay. Okay. No, you guys have you've helped me a lot. Thank you. Yeah, my podcast episodes need to start coming back. I have technically one recorded. It's kind of old though. They're going to start coming back. I just want to make sure that I'm really ready for when this podcast comes back now that I'm done being sick. And hopefully done being sick for a while. Well, I'm not done being sick yet. I need to get on that stuff, but yeah. Okay, cool. That's very helpful. Thanks, guys. I want to bring you, like, honestly, I do, even if you give me advice on like a topic, I do listen. If I don't do a video on it, it's just because time, and I have a lot more time now, technically, to do videos. So I'm going to be doing videos again along with building my video games. So yeah, we'll balance this out. We'll get this done. The movie or a limited series, or a series. So Zombieland already tried to do a series. If they could do a series with the same cast, I would 100% take a series over a new movie. I honestly think that if they did a life in the life of those characters, a day-to-day take with series, I think would do really well. So, but it all depends on if they have enough material for that. Okay, guys. Thank you for stopping by, doing all this. This has been a 2-hour-long stream, longer than I was expecting. By an hour, as always, it feels like. But I like chatting with you guys, and yeah, love chatting with you guys. Yeah, I know I really want to get into a very comfortable state of making videos, and that's why I ask you all this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. I'm going to go start researching some of my, want both with the same cast. Yeah, Chris Lee. No, I got my answer. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. I know I have lots of ideas and everything like that. That tends to be my flaw in life, is that I have too many ideas and don't act on enough and act on too many at the same time. So thank you for holding out on me and being there and supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And let's get some more stuff out there for the channel. And thanks for all the support. You guys have a good one. Peace out. Later, guys. Peace out.